Opening a coffee shop is the most popular business illusion in the world. You think you'll be pouring beautiful latte art and chatting with regulars. But the reality is this: coffee is a brutal logistics business where your profits are devoured by spilled milk, fierce competition on every corner, and constant price fluctuations for coffee beans on global exchanges. And if you open in the US or in Europe, you are playing two entirely different games. Let's break this business down to every last hidden cent. Chapter 1, Concept, Speed versus Tradition. In the American market, forget about cozy get-togethers. Coffee here is fuel. Your primary format is the drive-thru. Viewers, think about this figure. Over 70% of the revenue for giants like Starbucks today comes from cold drinks and customization. The American customer doesn't just want an espresso, they want a 24-ounce cup with ice, almond milk, 3 pumps of caramel syrup, and cold foam. Your coffee shop in the US isn't about romance. It's a bar counter where the barista assembles a chemistry set in 40 seconds. Oh, so the line of cars doesn't grind to a dead halt. Europe, let's fly across the ocean. In the EU, the grab a bucket of coffee and run format works significantly worse. The cult of traditional espresso and pastries rules here. In Italy, people pop in to drink a shot of espresso at the bar for €1.50. You are competing with cafes that are 100 years old. You can't coast by on sweet syrups. A European cares about the quality of the bean itself and the freshness of the croissant. If your pastry are from yesterday, you're bankrupt. Chapter 2, Budget and Bureaucratic Hell, USA. To open in the States, prepare anywhere from $80,000 to $300,000. You register an LLC and get an EIN from the IRS, but your biggest nightmare isn't taxes, it's the health department and zoning permits. The health department will force you to install not just one, but a minimum of 2 sinks. A massive 3-compartment sink for washing dishes and a separate one for hand washing. If the water temperature in them is even a couple of degrees below the standard, they won't let you open. And the zoning board can block your opening simply because you have 4 parking spaces in front of your building, while city law requires 6 for a coffee shop. Europe, here starting up will cost from €50,000 in Eastern Europe to €200,000 plus in Berlin or Paris. And if in the US they torment you with sinks, in the EU your enemy is the HACCP system. These are draconian food safety rules. Your barista will be required to keep special logs and physically sign off on the recorded temperatures in the milk refrigerators every single day. One wrong step, a massive fine and closure until the violations are resolved. Chapter 3, Location and Rent, the curse of old buildings and tricky contracts. USA, in the States, traffic is everything, but vehicular traffic is more important than pedestrian traffic. If your coffee shop is inconvenient to drive up to and park at, you are dead in the water. But the biggest trap in the US is hidden in the lease agreement. It's called a triple net lease. It sounds harmless, but in reality, it means you pay for more than just the base rent. The building owner shifts the burden of property taxes, building insurance, and maintenance costs onto you. You might negotiate a rent of $3,000 only to receive a $5,000 bill at the end of the month. And don't forget about the plumbing. The city will force you to install a giant underground grease trap at your own expense so that coffee waste doesn't clog the municipal pipes. That will set you back another few $1,000s. Europe. In Europe, you are fighting for pedestrian traffic in central squares and near subway stations. Lease agreements here are more secure, protects you from sudden eviction. But there is a different kind of hell here. The old building stock. You found the perfect space in an 18th century building. Congratulations. Now try getting approval from City Hall to punch a hole in the wall to install commercial ventilation. Often this is strictly prohibited, forcing you to change your entire concept or find a new location. And if you want to set up a couple of tables outside, prepare for a long, grueling approval process with the local authorities. Chapter 4, Equipment, where your money goes. In the US and Europe, the rules are similar but nuanced. Rookies think they'll just buy a beautiful machine and print money. But that is a big mistake, don't fall for it. A professional 2-group machine like a La Marzocco costs $12,000 to $25,000. In the US, every piece of equipment must have an NSF certification, or the health inspector shuts you down. The secret killer? Water. Hooking your machine directly to the supply means limescale will kill it in 6 months. You'll need a professional purification system like reverse osmosis, which costs as much as a used car. And don't forget the ice maker. 70% of US sales are cold drinks, so you'll need an industrial ice maker. It costs over $3,000, devours electricity, and breaks down often. But without it, your business will grind to a halt on the first hot day. Chapter 5, The Team, Tips versus Ironclad Contracts. In the States, the main problem is insane staff turnover. Baristas often view this as temporary. Yet culture demands perfect service, smiles, and knowing every regular's name. Why the effort? The tip system. Low base rates are offset by tips, making up the lion's share of income. For owners, this is a plus, lower payroll costs and high motivation. In Europe, forget that system. Hiring in the EU is like getting married. Contracts are ironclad. Firing someone for working slowly is incredibly difficult and expensive. European baristas have high fixed rates and full benefits. Tips are just loose change. You get a stable team, but you pay for it with massive payroll taxes. Whether it's tips or taxes, your team is your biggest investment. Chapter 6, Marketing and Launch, Loud versus Quiet. USA. In America, you pray to the Yelp and Google Maps algorithms. Yelp is the god of local business in the US. If your first customers give you 2 stars because of a long line, the algorithm will bury your location, and pulling your rating back up will cost a fortune. That's why in the States, they never just open the doors right away. First, they do a soft opening, a technical run-through for friends and family, so the baristas learn not to mix up the syrups and dial in their speed. Only after that do they throw a loud grand opening with balloons, bloggers, and discounts. Europe. Yelp barely works here. Your main tools are local word of mouth and an aesthetic Instagram. Openings in Europe often happen quietly. You simply unlock the doors and start brewing coffee for the locals. Gradually, week by week, you build a base of regular customers who value quality over loud, flashy signs. The coffee business isn't about drinking lattes all day long. It's a brutal game of survival, where your profit margins depend on rent costs, a broken ice maker, and your country's laws. The US is about speed, volume, and aggressive marketing. Europe is about tradition, quality, and strict bureaucracy. Choose your rules of the game wisely. Subscribe to the channel so you don't burn out before you even start. And check out our other hard-hitting business breakdowns. See you